Hey everyone, my name is Wes, and welcome back to another episode of Terror Talk where I discuss creepy clips online. I created this original horror music to add to the video, and I hope you enjoy it. Be sure to leave your own comments, and when you're done watching, check the description for a couple of really cool money-saving opportunities. Now let's get into it and have some fun.
I was backpacking through a route I'd found in the Cascades National Park. It was an out-and-back trail that typically takes 3 days one way and 3 days back. I didn't know too much about it, or how popular of a trail it was, but when doing these long backpacking routes, it usually doesn't matter, because you'll most likely not run into many people anyway.
Have you ever been on a really long backpacking trip like that? I have a friend who has been on a few of them, and he's a pretty outdoorsy type person, likes adventure a lot, and I would never go on a 3-day hike like that. I am just not equipped for it, and honestly it doesn't sound super enjoyable to me. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you have been.
On my 3rd day out though, I passed by one of the campsites and saw a man sitting by his tent. I took a break and we talked for a bit, where he mentioned he was staying there for the night and heading to the peak of the trail on the following day. I told him that that's where I was heading today and that I'll probably see him when he gets there. I left shortly after and got to what would be my campsite for the next 2 nights. The view was something I'd never experienced before, and
just off topic, but isn't that a beautiful trail? Right there? Dang, I would love to walk through that trail.
made for a great rest day and peak of the trail. For that whole day, nobody passed through, and when it came to night, I was still the only one camping there. I thought back to that guy I'd met at the campsite a day behind me, who said he'd be reaching this trail peak on this day. He never showed up though. I thought he maybe decided to turn around for some reason, or just camp out for another day at the place he was already at. In the morning, I packed up and started back down the way I came, though I got a late start, so at the very least, I was hoping to make it to that same campsite the man was at. I was really sore for some reason too, which didn't help, and before I knew it, there was almost no daylight left. I put on my headlamp and continued on the trail, walking for another hour past sundown before I made it to the camp. The tent that the man had was still there, set up like he never left. Knowing his plans to continue hiking, and just knowing that staying at one camp for several days while backpacking is unusual, I called out, asking if he was okay. There was no response. I walked up a bit closer.
That's a little strange, isn't it? Coming back down and the guy is still in the same spot? Would you be weirded out by that, or would you not think anything of it? I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I could go both ways on it, but then again, I don't really know the normalities of camping. But maybe it would have been a little weird, because he said he was going to come up, and then he just stayed in the same spot, so that is a little strange.
And said I just wanted to check in on him, but the flap on his tent was partially open, and nobody was inside. I felt a lump in my throat, like my body knew something wasn't right. I stood and looked all around, not seeing a single sign of him anywhere, until I saw a glimmer in the distance. There was a faint light sitting still, far out in the woods. I began walking up to it, going about 40 yards from the tents, before I found the source. It was a headlamp laying on the ground like it had been accidentally left behind, and the light was so dim that it must have been nearly out of batteries. And it was just then that I noticed someone watching me. They were standing not too far, just 10 yards away, and clearly trying to not be seen. I knew in my gut that this wasn't the man from before, but I felt like I had to say or do something.
That would all be pretty unsettling, wouldn't it? Just finding a light like that, kind of out in the woods, and then discovering that someone is watching you that wasn't the person before. Like, dang, how would you react in that situation? I'm not sure I know what I would do, but I feel like it would be better to get out of there than not get out of there. Don't you feel the same way?
Hello? Do you need help? They stood still and quiet. I'm sorry, I'll leave, I said shakily, then hurried back to the tent. Luckily, I hadn't unpacked anything yet, so I put my backpack on and started walking out of the campsite. As I did, the headlamp in the woods turned off. I got away and walked as far as I could, going another 3 miles to the next camp. I reported it as soon as I could as well, and unfortunately, it was just what I thought it was. The man that I had met was missing. There's almost no traces for them to follow, and out in the backcountry, it's nearly impossible to search for anyone. Who that person I saw out there was is likely the biggest unknown that could give us answers as to what happened, though it seems like most of us are aware of the most probable scenario that took place.
Yeah, I feel like he was lucky that it didn't happen to him also, and it is sad that he went missing. Who knows what that guy had done? Maybe he even killed the guy and took his body somewhere. But yeah, it's sad because I feel like people go missing out in the woods a lot. And you just have to be careful out there. Like, you never know what could happen out in the woods like that. And I think that it is important to have a lot of awareness when you're out in nature, because you could take a wrong trail, you could get lost, there could be some stalker out there in the woods, you just never know. So always use caution when you're out in the woods, and I think this is a cautionary tale, but either way, I thought it was a good story, and I hope you enjoyed my commentary, and I will see you in the next video.